Brent, are we all set in the back?
Yes.
All right, great. I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Pichetti,
Here.
Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Ms. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here.
Ms. McPherson,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The next item we have is approval of the minutes for May 5th, 2026. You had those in your packets. If there are no edits, I would ask for a motion in a second.
So moved, Pichetti.
Second, Smith Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Next, we have the internal audit report from Executive Director of IA, Tony Garofoli. Tony, welcome back. It was at the Audit Committee meeting. It was a great discussion, and look forward to the overview here for the full board.
Thank you, and good morning, Mayor Kumar, members of the committee, Ms. Birdsong-Terry, staff, and guests. My name is Anthony Garofoli, Executive Director of Internal Audit, and I will present the results of the internal audit activities for the first quarter 2026. Please refer to this report distributed at your tables. As Mayor Kumar indicated, last Tuesday, May 12th, we presented these activities in detail to the Audit Committee. Today's presentation is a summary. I'll begin on pages 3 through 5 is the 2026 Internal Audit Plan, which is approved by the Board of Trustees on February 17th, 2026. Per our professional audit standards, this is a risk-based plan that was aligned with the GCRTA's strategic plan and performance metrics, including customer experience, community impact, financial health, and employee investment. You'll hear more about those metrics in the next presentation. In addition to these 4 performance success outcomes, we identified 2 additional priorities and high-risk areas to guide our plan. Those include information technology, governance, and configuration management. Before I begin with the report, per request from the Audit Committee, please note the revised format to our quarterly audit report. The audit staff reviewed approximately 40 reports from different audit shops to capture the best practices and modernize the report. And I'll begin. On pages 6 through 11, please find the results of 6 audit plan projects completed during the first quarter. These projects are change and patch management, the Hastus Employee Performance Management Module, information technology inventory, an audit of accounts payable, employee travel expense and requests, and finally, a post-delivery Buy America review for the 40 compressed natural gas bus order approved by the board last year. We met with management, received the responses to our audit recommendations, and released the reports. These audits were discussed in detail again with the Audit Committee meeting last Tuesday. We'll track the implementation of recommendations within our audit management system. Pages 12 and 13 are the results of our first theme report. Audit staff reviewed 10 customer experience-related audits between 2023 and 2026. And the overall message was that management made meaningful progress, especially with the creation of a customer experience department, but still needs a clearer strategy and stronger organization-wide culture, customer culture. Key takeaways mentioned are the customer experience department has helped build momentum through projects and initiatives focused on vehicles, facilities, and services. GCRTA would benefit from a formal customer experience strategy and plan to guide future work. And finally, employee understanding of the customer journey needs to improve so staff can deliver a more consistent, customer-centered, service across the organization. Our next theme report will focus on information technology governance based on our completion and evaluation of many audits focused in that area. On pages 14 and 15 is the status of projects in progress. They are organized by project type and showing where each assignment stands in our work plan. The work is tied to core operational risks and priorities, especially financial controls, customer-facing service issues, technology oversight, and the rail car replacement oversight and program. We will report on these and other audits in future meetings with the Audit Committee. Pages 16 and 18 are the results of our computerized audit scripts. This section describes an ongoing data-driven approach to monitoring key risks and controls through the year rather than waiting for a one-time review. Its main purpose is to spot exceptions, errors, fraud indicators, and control weaknesses earlier so that the department can respond faster and improve oversight. The audits included nepotism, the purchasing card use, an audit of payroll, revenue collection, paratransit eligibility, and diesel fuel expense. There are no matters for the board's attention. Moving forward on pages 19 through 24 is the report that is focused on the rail car replacement program. Per the request of the Audit Committee and this board, we included the results of our audit activities related to the entire program with a focus on change orders and contractor payments. Quick summary, the project office recently completed a trip to the factory to perform an on-site quality assurance review with our engineering consultant. Those details were shared with this board in the March report out. For some project pictures of the final assembly, please go to page 20. You'll see some pictures. And note that the first rail car is expected to arrive here sometime in September 2026. On page 21, we included a copy of the procurement department's change order log. Okay, there was one change order during the first quarter to the Siemens Mobility contract, and it was negotiated in the amount of $486,467.56, as described on page 22. It was change order 9, and it adds and installs vehicle tracking and dispatch communication equipment for the new rail cars so they can support functions such as real-time vehicle tracking, operator messaging, incident reporting, and pre-trip inspections, and integration with GCRTA's existing fare and operation systems. The total value of the Siemens Mobility contract at this point, including change orders, remains at $344,876,317.56. Total payments to the contractor as of May 6, 2026 are $135,549,483.28, representing 39% of the total contract amount. Pages 23 and 24 include tables to summarize other audits as we complete them within the railcar program. We are engaged in various audits to assess risk and compliance. We include each of these projects in our ongoing audit plan. On page 25, please find the details and efforts to address special requests and issues. At this point, we are completing work on an investigation and audit of our lost and found workflow and process throughout the entire organization. Beginning on page 26 is our efforts to work with external auditors. Please recall the state auditor is on site conducting the financial single audit for the fiscal year 2025. They will rely on some of the work of the internal audit staff, and they are on track to present their findings to the Board of Trustees in June 2026. We do continue to work with the Federal Transit Administration's Program Management Oversight Consultant for the Railcar project. And then please note that the Federal Transit Administration is conducting a triennial review to assess how the GCRTA uses federal funds to comply with grant requirements. They are completing a desk review, and they are scheduled to be on site in late July 2026. We added a new section to the report detailing our efforts to follow up on internal audit recommendations. Those results are included on pages 29 and 30. We developed a customized report to meet with each of the deputy general managers and continue to track outstanding follow-up through our audit management system. Internal audit has engaged an audit consultant to evaluate the healthcare expenses and to provide management with some cost-saving strategies. I provided the purpose and scope on page 33 for everyone. We've talked about this in the past. They are completing the field work for that engagement, and we should have results within the next 30 days. The remainder of the report is informational. We did participate in several steering committees and meetings to learn and share risk management strategies. I shared the training that the staff attended during the first quarter and other staff priorities. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Mayor Weiss as chair.
Just a comment. As always, this quarter's report was thorough and complete. Mr. Garofoli and his staff presented a lengthy meeting on lots of different topics, and the materials were well organized, and we did appreciate the new format. I think it's just a little easier to follow some of that information. And no, just thank you for a job well done.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for the overview, and thank you for the overview. I may have, in the more thorough presentation, you may have spoken to this, but just looking at the top line, could you speak a little more to internal audit's functional role in like the advisory projects that you kind of list?
Oh, certainly.
Top? Yeah.
So our professional standards provide that we would provide that we can complete assurance engagements. They may include compliance, they may include an opinion, and then also advisory projects. So our advisory work is based upon our broad knowledge of the organization, and we have a number of analyses that we have prepared and will prepare to support management to achieve their objectives.
Thank you, and thank you for the report. Last week, I did ask a question related to page 12 and 13 and customer experience, and the core of that question was really related to how did we derive at these recommendations? And I just want to dig a little deeper on that question, because what I'm really trying to understand is like what methodology was used to come to develop these themes. And I'm asking this question because I want to make sure that we are developing these themes based on data and trends and not anecdotes of experiences of one or a few individuals, whether it's our clients or it's those who work here every day at RTA. So I'm just wanting to know a little bit more about the methodology and how we reach this on the themes.
Thank you, board member. If you'll refer to page 13, these are the 10 audits that we completed during that 2-year period. Each of these was its own comprehensive analysis with risk assessment, field work, targeted testing, results, sharing them with management. And then the theme that we derive from a combination of all of these results, common threads, We developed, again, into a theme report on customer experience. All of these audits were designed to address different elements of customer experience. So again, the results were combined, common threads, and from that we derived our theme report.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I will probably continue to call this out, just making sure that we're making decisions based on what we're seeing overall throughout the system, because we all can have a good day on the system, we can all have a bad day on the system, but we have to make decisions based on all the experiences combined. So just wanted to call that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Tony, if I can, just to piggyback, can you talk to some of the research that maybe IA went into in looking at other systems and how those comparatives went to be able to kind of dovetail into some of these recommendations?
Oh, surely. On the theme report? Okay, so, well, to begin with, for each audit that you saw on pages 12 and 13, we always benchmark the RTA against other transit properties and other sources. Okay, so it wasn't just, as we developed the theme report, I want to be clear in each of these audits was benchmarked against other places. For example, rail cleanliness or on-time performance, customer complaints, reaching out within our own industry. I'm fortunate to be a member of a peer group, the Audit Professionals Group of APTA, the American Public Transportation Association, and we are sharing many of our common practices and audit programs and reports. And then our staff actually contacted other transit properties, to do the same. So all of these recommendations are tied to benchmarking as well as the results of our tests.
Hi. I was just wondering if you could explain a little more the risk assessment framework you use and where we could potentially find any mitigation strategies that have been recommended.
First, welcome, Ms. Harper. Our risk assessment is unique to each of our audits, okay? And our first objective is to understand what is the business objective, and then what are the risks to attain those objectives, and then what controls are in place to mitigate those risks. Then we will test the controls, okay? And then where controls are in place and working well, we'll share that good news report with management. And where there's opportunities for improvement, then we'll share a recommendation that we'll track in our audit management system. Does that help you? You're welcome.
If I could, also on the theme of customer experience, piggyback on that for, excuse me, for the benefit of the public who is not able to be with us at the audit committee meeting. A comment stuck with me by Nick Bigger, our Senior Director of Customer Experience, where I think it gave me a lot of confidence in the process, in that Nick said at the end he is very much, working with audit on the recommendations, and you guys are very much on the same page in terms of the direction and future strategy. And I just wanted to say that gave me a lot of confidence, and I'm glad to see the cooperation between management and audit. So thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to working with Nick's group.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much for that, Tony. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second, Gallo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. I'm going to just talk with Brent. We just do my president's report.
I just say, can I have one comment? Last week at that audit committee meeting, we also talked about getting the team out, getting staff out and using the system more often. I just wanted to commend Nick Davidson and his team. On my way home, they were at a bus stop on 55th. I saw them there. They were out using the system, or at least interacting with it in some way. So cheers to that just initiative in general, but it seems to already be happening. So thanks.
Great. And then just with Emily Harper being sworn in last week, we usually look at our committee assignments beginning of every March. So we just plugged her into the vacancies we had so that she is now a member of the Organizational Services and Performance and Monitoring Committee and also the Operational Planning and Infrastructure Committees, as well as the Ad Hoc COC Selection Committee. So welcome aboard on that, but just for committee purposes today, she is part of both of those committees.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Organizational Services and Performance Monitoring Committee. Could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Pichetti?
Here.
Mayor Gallo?
Here.
Ms. Harper?
Here.
Ms. McPherson? Mr. Sleesman?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. So our first item is the approval of minutes from the May 5th meeting. Any questions or comments on those minutes? You should have them in front of you. And hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. McPherson.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, so those minutes are approved for May 5th, and then we'll move on. We have two additional agenda items today, the traction results reporting and then the quarterly management report. So with that, I'd like to bring our General Manager and CEO, India Birdsong-Terry, up to the podium with Nick Bigger, the Senior Director of Customer Experience and Performance Management for the traction results reporting. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am going to be relatively quick for my introduction of the quarterly performance review for Traction. As you all know by this point, we have evolved. We have grown up a little bit, and now we are 100% in-house for using this data and compiling this data. We have separated in a good way ourselves from the third party. If you remember the last quarterly report, Mark Ash, the CEO of TransPro, was here giving a little bit of the presentation along with us. So today you've got me and Nick. All right, so I am here to tee it up for you guys, and will remain here to support Nick through the duration of the presentation. The general agenda follows how we normally come before you every quarter. So for those who are new, welcome, Ms. Harper, and welcome to all of the data. We tried not to scare her earlier this week. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and you can definitely stop us in the middle if you like. So we generally go through the performance management, what has occurred over the last 3 months. And then also, remember, we are a month in arrears. So just keep that in mind as we're talking about the data. We're generally talking about Q1 of 2026. So if you hear something that attributes to bad weather or snow, we do know that it is May, but we are talking about the first quarter of the year here. The organizational scorecard, you'll see that, and we'll walk you through it. Customer experience survey results, you should have a couple of booklets at the dais, and that really walks you through the surveys that we have out for our customers so that you're able to really get a bird's eye view of what their analysis and what their opinion of our service has been over the last quarter. And then, of course, the community value survey. Those are two different surveys, and we can answer any questions based on that. And then our performance management cadence, that's just the timeline of when we'll come back to you throughout the year. All right, so getting into the first quarter of the year, we are currently earning a B-. Do not be alarmed. This is actually, I believe, a good indicator that we are being honest, we are being transparent, and we're also only a quarter into the year. So we expect for that to be able to increase and improve over time. It also is a good indicator that we've set our sights a little higher as far as goals. Our goal is to be able to provide a little bit of a stretch when we compare the goals from 26 to 27 year over year. We have adjusted a couple of the indicators or a couple of the KPIs. And so we expected to be able to kind of have to hustle a little bit further in 2026 to make the grade, so to speak. So if you look at the 4 buckets is what I end up calling them, but they're success outcomes. So you look at the customer experience, our goal point is 35. Currently, we are at 33.9. We'll go into detail about that. Again, that's how the customer feels along their journey, no matter where they're going, if it's bus, rail, paratransit. How do we do on a daily basis overall? How do they feel? Do they feel safe? Do they feel that we're on time? Do they feel that it's a clean experience? Their interactions, behavior-wise, with some of our operators, those are the kind of things that go into customer experience, their overall quality of journey. And then you have the community impact. This is an interesting one, and it is a tricky one because it gets down into the weeds of how do people feel about RTA. Would they recommend it to someone else? Does it impact them personally, or does it impact someone else they know? It also incorporates some of the workforce development initiatives that we have. This is where TOD lives, the transit-oriented development. Are we contributing to the overall health of the economy? Those are the kind of things that really dovetail. And this one is a finicky one, I say, because it goes up and down depending on their experience, but also on word of mouth. And this is a perception versus reality sort of area where we can do really well. And as Ms. Wiggum mentioned before, sometimes you have a bad day on RTA and then you can dip. So I think this one we have to monitor very closely, and you'll see a little bit of variability in this over time. We are at a solid 15 out of 20. That means there's room for improvement. We understand that. Also, big ticket days. So for example, when you have multiple events going on, that's a show and prove opportunity for us. And we'll go into that. There's an actual good example of that coming up in a report later on today. Employee investment. This one we expected to have a little bit of a dip. We're at 12.1, where the goal point was set at 20. This is where we get more into the nitty-gritty of the internal mechanics of how do we promote people. We have to also remember that we're in financial awareness mode, and so are there places for people to promote into, right? Are we moving forward with mentorship programs and apprentice programs and all of the things that would lend to employee investment? We understand that also our pool of potential candidates for those programs may be shrinking if we're in a hiring freeze mode. And these are the things I'm looking at George Fields to make sure I'm not missing anything. So jump in if I am. That might be also shrinking a bit while we kind of get through some of the financial cuts that we're making to make sure that we can continue with service with no adverse impact on the community. So this one we may have to come back. We'll see how we can fare through the next quarter. We may have to come back to you with a little bit of an adjustment or at least some additional information, but we expected to be a little lower than average. But again, we are in quarter one, so I want to give us some grace. We'll see how that occurs. If you remember, we had 56 positions that were frozen. We have not filled those. So again, our pool is shrinking a little bit, so we expect that to be able to be adjusted. But we will get into the nitty about that as well, so you can get a little bit more information. Financial health, 21.9 out of 25. This is a good grade. This is a good grade. However, it can always be better. We will take you into the details of how we're handling those finances to make sure, again, that our service is getting out there as advertised, and also making sure that we can stave off some of the major reductions in some of our income, whether it's through a healthcare expenditure or whether it's through sales tax and the like. We'll take you through some more documentation. So for right now, we stand at a B-. We do expect that to get better over time, and we are talking about quarter one. So we're at 82.9 out of 100 for our goals, and I'm going to hand it over to Nick Bigger.
Thank you, India. Good morning, Chair Pichetti, members of the board. My name is Nick Bigger. I'm the Senior Director of Customer Experience and Performance Management here at the RTA. And I'm going to begin today talking about our organizational scorecard, specifically our performance through the first quarter of 2026. So just to carry over the conversation that India was just providing, as a reminder, RTA utilizes a balanced scorecard approach to monitor and measure our performance. We have an annualized scorecard, so every year we take the opportunity amongst RTA leadership to evaluate goals, metrics, performance measures, all those types of things to make sure that they're the most appropriate things we should be measuring for the year at hand. The constant we have with our balanced scorecard are the 4 quadrants of our scorecard. So we call them success outcomes. India just went over them. All of our key metrics and goals roll up to one of those 4 success outcomes: the customer experience, our community impact, our employee investment, and financial health. So starting off with our 2026 scorecard, We do have one metric measured two different ways that actually exists on our scorecard in 2026 in a new way. So this is a carryover metric which we've had for the last couple of years. It used to reside in our customer experience success outcome. Heading into 2026, we actually elevated it out of customer experience, so it exists as an umbrella metric. So this metric sits on top of our scorecard. It's an aspirational metric for us. It's something that we always want to have eyes on to understand how we're performing, and it's our Net Promoter Score. So as you all may remember, Net Promoter Score, we ask our customers a very simple question: how likely are you to recommend writing RTA to a friend or family member? Our customers respond on a Likert scale, 0 to 10. Depending on how they respond, they're grouped into three different buckets. We have promoters who are very likely to recommend writing RTA. They respond as a 9 or a 10. We have neutrals or passives who respond as a 7 or 8, kind of right in the middle there. And then detractors, people who are not very likely to recommend writing RTA. That's 6 and under. To calculate your Net Promoter Score, you're simply comparing the percentage of promoters to the percentage of detractors. So promoters minus detractors is your Net Promoter Score. We are measuring this two different ways. This was an internal debate for us for quite some time, so we opted to just split the difference and look at it both ways. We look at our quarterly outputs, so that's the top metric there. So that is every single quarter, what is our overall Net Promoter Score? And then right below it is the 4-quarter rolling average. So what we have seen, you all might remember, you've seen me do a lot of these presentations. Net Promoter Score can be somewhat volatile, kind of go up and down. That's why we retain that second metric to kind of normalize it a little bit. All in all, really good results for Net Promoter Score for the first quarter. So you can see we're besting our goal, coming in as a quarterly output of 37 compared to a goal of 35. I'm going to transition now into our first success outcome, which is customer experience. In 2026, we retained all of the metrics on our 2025 scorecard. We did have conversations about goals. So we looked at our performance, how we did in 2025, and we always take the opportunity to try to push ourselves a little bit. So we had modest increases in our goals to focus in on continuous improvement, just trying to get better. So looking at our overall customer satisfaction, we came in at just under 80% for first quarter 2026 compared to a goal of 76%. We are very interested in our customers' perceptions of a few key attributes of our service. So our customers' perception of safety and security, we came in at 64% compared to a goal of 70%. Our customers' perception of on-time performance, just under 75% compared to a goal of 76%. And at the bottom there, our customers' perception of vehicle cleanliness, we came in at 54% compared to a goal of 60%. Later in this presentation, we're going to go through our customer experience survey results. These three attributes consistently are weighted very heavily in our customers' opinion. So these are things that are very important to our customers consistently over time, quarter after quarter. We want to make sure that we have line of sight accountability to these metrics, and so we've infused them directly into our scorecard. The one metric here that's remaining is the second from the bottom. That is our actual on-time performance, our internal data. So we have an organization-wide goal of 83%. We came in just under our goal at 82.6% for the first quarter. This is a metric we measure two ways because on-time performance for our fixed route customers is consistently and overwhelmingly the most important thing to our customers. And so we measure it both ways. And in sum total here for customer experience, we achieved 33.9 out of a possible 35 goal points. So we did fairly well for customer experience in the first quarter of 2026. Going into our second success outcome, which is our community impact. We ask our customers about their perception of our value in the community. So we have a goal of 89% and came in just under 88% for the first quarter. You heard India talking about transit-oriented development. This is a concept that we had a lot of conversation about, so continuing to try to refine the way we measure this, looking for results, looking for progress. So the first metric there on TOD, Transit-Oriented Development Activation, is a carryover from last year. This is simply the number of new projects we add to the hopper. So we have an annual goal of adding 4 new projects that we come to the board for approval in 2026. Thus far, we haven't brought any new projects, but I do know that we're working on some, so there's some on the horizon that will be coming forward. The second metric is measuring our progress, so transit-oriented development progress. So not only did we want approval for new projects, having new projects in the fold, we wanted to know, how are we going in terms of our completion of those projects? And so we said that we're striving to complete, with handoff to a developer, 80% of our projects within a 2-year window, and that's a rolling 2-year window. So in the first quarter of 2026, we've completed 67% of our active TOD projects. The next metric is a very exciting one for me. You heard Trustee Sleesman kind of talking about it here. We have launched an initiative agency-wide. We call them customer experience site visits. And so we have a regular cadence where cross-functional members of our team get out into the system, visit rapid stations, visit transit centers, visit bus shelters right on our system, and we're simply walking and noting things from a customer's perspective, right? So we're identifying things in need of remedy. In 2025, the focus was very heavily on launching this approach, getting it deployed, getting participation, figuring out the proper cadence to do it. In 2026, we're looking for precision, right? So we've infused this onto our scorecard. We have said, as we go out there and we identify these lists of things in need of remedy, we want to make sure that we're taking care of them. And so this metric here is saying that we want to complete, fix, repair, remedy, whatever it is, 70% of the items that we're identifying on these site visits within a 45-day period, right? Looking at the tactical items that we can improve. And so very exciting in the first quarter, we have achieved 100% here. So very indicative of the buy-in of the team of leaning into this, getting out there and trying to fix things to improve things for our customers at these huge community assets, right? So rapid stations often are like the beacon of hope in the neighborhoods we serve. We want to make sure that they're representative of the community and of the good service RTA wants to provide. The last metric here, community partnership activities. And so we have an annual goal of engaging with community partners, getting out there, providing value to our community. These are items that we call out in our annual report. So just our partnership with other government entities, community leaders, whatever it might be. On an annual basis, we want to engage in 85% of such activities. Through the first quarter, we've done 18. And so looking at the total here for community impact, we achieved 15 out of a possible 20 points in the first quarter of 2026. Switching into employee investment, this is one where we had a lot of conversation amongst RTA leadership. We opted in 2026 to move away from the more transactional metrics related to human resources, such as vacancy fill rate and the like, and try to lean more into the spirit of the success outcome, which is investing in our employees. And so you can see the top metric here, we're very interested in retention rate, right? So it's not vacancy fill rate in 2026. It is how are we doing in terms of retention of mission critical positions, which for us are operators, mechanics, and transit police officers. So we have an 80% goal. We achieved a 65% in the first quarter of 2026. The second metric is a carryover. It's called Cultivate Internal Talent Pipeline. This is just tracking our internal promotion rate. So we consider this investing in our employees if they have a good opportunity to compete and seek promotional opportunities. Our goal on our scorecard is to shoot for a 36% internal promotion rate as we're hiring people. And we did achieve 36% in the first quarter. The next two metrics are new for 2026. Professional development training hours for non-bargaining employees. So we set a quarterly goal of 6 hours per quarter that accumulates up to 24 hours a year, looking at how we are developing our non-bargaining staff. So the spirit of this is we have an annual performance evaluation process, which is sparked by a conversation between supervisor and employee. The goal is to have supervisor and employee collaborate on professional development needs, growth opportunities, et cetera, identifying appropriate trainings, and then achieve them. And so we're tracking our ability to achieve our professional development goal here. We were looking for 80% of our employees to hit the 6-hour mark. We came in at 52.6% in the first quarter. The last one, wellness incentive participation. So at RTA, we do incentivize our employees to be proactive about their health using our benefits program. We care deeply about employees and about their health and wellness. And so the incentive program compels employees to get an annual physical and a dental exam to receive a modest, financial incentive to do so. That program has existed for a very long time. Historically, as we looked at the numbers, we were hovering between 40 and 50% of our employees are taking advantage of it. And so we added this as a scorecard here to try to invest our employees, first and foremost, because we care about employees' health and wellness. But studies have shown successful organizations have a similar model. If employees are proactive about their health, that could have a direct impact on the bottom line for the organization in terms of reducing long-term healthcare costs. So there is a financial factor here as well. Net total for employee investment, we achieved just over 12 out of a possible 20 points in the first quarter. Our last success outcome is our financial health. The first metric here is looking at our competitive grants. And so we rely on funding, outside funding, to help us do the really good work that we're doing out in the community. We have an annualized goal to be fairly aggressive and go out there and seek out $35 million to come into the authority to help us do the good work we're doing out there in the construction of new stations, whatever other things that we're doing. Through the first quarter, we have brought in just over $17 million of our annual goal of $35 million. So off to a good start here. The second metric is a carryover from last year. It is our transfer from our revenue stabilization fund. This year, we have set that at $34 million. So we are hoping to draw down $34 million or less. Much like last year, this is a stretch goal for us. So in our budget, we have budgeted to draw down $44 million from our revenue stabilization fund. Our stretch goal is to try to cap that at $34 million. Again, the revenue stabilization fund is essentially RTA's savings account. Our stretch goal, helped us a little bit last year by having line of sight accountability here. We're trying to limit the dollar amount of the drawdown to stretch out the revenue stabilization fund as long as we can. The last one is a new metric for us, was not on here at the organizational level in 2025, but it is expense reduction. And so there are a ton of initiatives that we are doing. You've heard many presentations about it in this body, but this is the organization committing to being financial stewards, right? So organization-wide, we are seeking to reduce our expenses by 3%. Through the first quarter of 2026, we have achieved a 4.2% reduction in our expenses. So we're off to a good start here. All in all, for financial health, we're just under 22 goal points earned out of a possible 25. I'm going to transition now to talk about fairly quickly two of our surveys. The first is going to be our customer experience survey. To start off, I do want to say that for our surveys, we actually partner with a company called ETC. So ETC, it is an industry leader in terms of surveying. They survey with many different organizations across the country. We do have the vice president from ETC available on the line, Aaron Heakley, should there be any questions about methodology or what have you. So I just wanted to call that out. Starting with our customer experience surveys, we're very interested in understanding, what is important to our customers, who our customers are. And so we have a quarterly cadence to engage with our customers, out on the buses, out on the trains. we do a randomized onboard intercept survey model on a quarterly basis. This here tells you we spent 10 days in the field between February and March. There is, as I said, a randomized proportion to this. So looking at random sampling, we're typically targeting every fourth customer to get their feedback. And at the bottom there, you can see the outputs by mode. And so for the first quarter of 2026, we received 416 completed surveys for our fixed route bus customers. We received 446 completed surveys for our bus rapid transit customers, specifically the Healthline customers. And we received 424 completed surveys for our rail service in the first quarter of 2026. Paratransit, we're also very interested in our paratransit customers and what they have to say. We do this survey methodology slightly differently. You can't really do randomized onboard surveys with paratransit service. And so this is a hybrid model of direct mailings and phone calls with a random selection of paratransit customers. In the first quarter of 2026, we received 401 completed surveys from our paratransit customers. This gives a very high-level snapshot of our levels and trends of some of our key performance indicators related to our customer experience surveys. So you can see the last 5 waves of survey data, so starting in the first quarter of 2025 through the first quarter of 2026, how we have performed in these key metrics. All the way to the left, you can see a steady, gradual increase in overall customer satisfaction, most recently coming in at 80%. You can see the big 3, so things that our customers are very interested in, things that are very important to our customers. So the perception of safety and security came in at a 64%. Their perception of vehicle cleanliness came in at a 54%, and their perception of on-time performance came in at a 75%. All the way to the right, you can see our Net Promoter Score measured over the last 5 waves of surveys. So you can see that we came in at 37 in the first quarter of 2026. I'm going to quickly go through each mode. So this slide is going to show you how our customers responded in the first quarter of 2026 when asked, what's the most important attribute of our service? What do you want RTA to focus on the most to help you in your journey on RTA? You can see on-time performance at the top there for fixed route bus customers. The close cluster towards the top of this chart, vehicle cleanliness, the cost of a ride, and then the perception of safety while riding and the perception of safety while waiting. As you look at our bus rapid transit customers, again, this is specific to our Healthline customers, on-time performance, again, is the clear winner in terms of what is most important to our Healthline customers, followed by vehicle cleanliness, safety while riding and waiting, as well as the cost of a ride. For our rail customers, on-time performance, the number one thing, followed by vehicle cleanliness, safety while riding and waiting, and the cost of a ride. So you can see a theme here basically across all of our modes of fixed route service. As you look at paratransit, the responses are different. And I think that it makes a lot of sense when you think about our paratransit customers and the type of service we provide to paratransit customers. So what's most important to our paratransit customers? Safety while riding, operators driving safely, safety while boarding, travel time, and then you get into vehicle cleanliness and on-time performance. I'm going to quickly touch on our community value survey. The community value survey goes out to the community at large. So these are people who live within RTA's service area, but don't necessarily ride RTA. So it gives a little bit of a nuanced understanding of the RTA and the value we provide, what's important to community members at large. We received 615 responses for this community value survey in 2026. This is a survey that we had been administering twice a year. We've transitioned to doing it once a year. So this is going to be our annual community value survey for 2026. 3 important trend lines here to call out with our community value survey. At the top there, the dark line, this is asking our community members who live in our service area, to what extent do you see value? Does RTA provide value to the region? So 88% of our community members indicated that RTA provides value to the region. In the middle there, the gray line, to what percent do you find value in RTA personally, right? Does it provide value to your personal life? So that came in at 62%. And then the bottom line there, the light blue, what percent of our community members that we surveyed ride the service? So you can see the large delta there. 23% of the community members surveyed ride RTA, compared to the top line, 88% of the community members surveyed see value that RTA provides to the region. This is a very important thing for us to understand. So this is asking our community at large through these surveys, what's the most important thing RTA can do to provide value to the region, right? So whether or not you use it, what do you want RTA to be focused on to provide value? And you can see that the top thing there, our community members have told us through this survey that they want us to provide access to employment. They want us to provide affordable transportation. They're very interested in our ability to provide mobility to low-income families and individuals and provide mobility to those with special mobility needs. And then you can see other things there, access to healthcare, access to recreation, et cetera. I'm going to end my presentation just giving a bird's eye view of our Traction Performance Management annual program. So this just kind of tells you where we are in the year. On a quarterly basis, India and I come before you to present our scorecard, present our survey results. In the afternoon, we always have an internal leadership meeting to do deep dives into our performance, into our divisional scorecards, talk about strategies, ways to improve. And then on a monthly basis, we also have a recurring tactics meeting. So tactics we have 7 tactics. They're basically the most important organizational projects or initiatives we're seeking to deliver by the end of the year. So we have a monthly touch point. These are led by cross-functional team members, just making sure that we're making progress, removing barriers, working together to be successful in these tactics meetings. And with that, we'll take any questions you all might have.
Nick, I was asking India this before, and you can just get back to me on it, but on the community value survey, page 14, I was just trying to understand the math of the columns. I would think they would add up to 100%. It seems like they add up to more. I'm just not sure if I'm reading it correctly, but we can talk offline afterwards. You don't have that handy.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a comment, like overarching comment, and then a pretty detailed question. So first of all, I just want to thank you for continuing to come back with us with such rich data. Recently, we've seen some reports of anecdotal information or one-off comments that people might assume are the reality, and I really appreciate that we take the time to survey hundreds of users on a regular basis to get real data about what our riders care about. So thank you for that. And then just in terms of what people care about, I did notice, so that here's the more like detailed deep dive. If we go back to the customer experience, I noticed that on the cleanliness of trains specifically, so cleanliness being something that is important to our riders. The cleanliness of it's driven by, it says, which 2 of the items listed do you think are most important? People think seats are most important. I know we're in the middle of a transition from cloth seats to vinyl seats. I just wanted to know what the status was for the red line. I believe we've completed it on the blue line, but could you just share with us where we are on that?
Yeah, so I'll pivot to Doc. I believe we're complete with the red line. It's the light rail, the blue and the green line that we're still working on. And I'll just tell you, anecdotally, with riding, it makes a huge difference. I mean, the seat composition does make a huge difference in terms of the perception of cleanliness. It also makes a huge difference tactically in terms of our ability to clean them, right? So it's much easier to clean that vinyl material than it is the cloth material. Right. So I think as an agency, we're very excited that we've leaned into that. And I know that's ongoing. I don't have an exact status update, but I know the light rail was ongoing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
If you could get back to
We
us
will,
on just
yeah.
the timeline would be helpful. I just noticed there's like that delta between like people are saying they're really important and then how satisfied are you? Seats are like, still pretty low. So just
Yes.
something to think about.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if I could add one thing, so first, thank you for the comments and the kudos. We appreciate it. I do want to take this opportunity to just also invite, and I'll ask Nick to tee it up. I'm pointing up in the air because we've got somebody online, to be able to just give a really quick snapshot of how the surveys are administered. Nothing super detailed, but enough to be able to provide some information on that, because I think that's really important. Being able to survey active riders, right, and being able to also look at folks that maybe could be potential riders, I think are important. We always have a difference of opinion, and we appreciate all of them, right? We're not going to always get 100% satisfaction. But I think we're at an inflection point in Cleveland where we are battling history, and we are battling folks' anecdotes from memory, and also from storytelling from generations who rode in the past. So the seats are a really good example of that. If you've got folks that haven't ridden in a while or haven't ridden the Red Line, for example, and say the seats are disgusting, I don't want to sit on cloth, when are they going to switch over to vinyl or plastic or something that's not cloth? We have to be able to get folks back to the system so that they can see the changes that are happening, because they are happening rapidly. You've got, I think, A through M on the resolution list today. The majority of a lot of that stuff are capital improvements as well as operational items that will enhance the ridership experience. And these are the things that we are attempting to do. There's also, I think, commentary about TVMs, ticket vending machines. We're replacing those machines, right? This is years in the making. There's complaints about rail cars. We are replacing these rail cars. This is 45 years in the making. These are things that don't happen overnight, but understand that we are taking these absolutely seriously, and we're coming to you with these updates. We also had questions about fare equity. Smart card and fare capping is coming June 1. These are things that are years in the making. So we're at an inflection point, I think, where RTA is turning over a new leaf as far as innovation and some of the enhancements to the ride. We need people to get out and see it. So when we do have the surveys, we're going to be hit from all angles. There's going to be a lot of commentary from folks that do ride and folks that haven't ridden in a long time, and we're willing to take all of it. But we're going to continually come back to you with information and updates on what's really happening out in the system, and we'll continue to improve over time. So Nick, if you would just for a moment, I don't know where he is, but if you could invoke just the quick commentary on the surveys.
Sure. So I'm going to look to the back room here, our IT friends, if we can patch in Aaron Heakley from ETC. And Aaron, if you could just briefly give an overview of survey methodology for the board and the members of the public, please.
Sure. Thanks so much, Nick, in India. So my name's Aaron Hegley. I'm Vice President of Transportation Research here at ETC Institute, and our goal is to be a third-party objective partner in these surveys. So we'll design a sampling strategy and methodology to ensure that the data that we provide to Nick and his group is truly representative of your customer group in the community at large or within the service area there. So on the onboard side, we spent 15 years kind of developing best practices alongside FTA and numerous IRB research boards across the country to ensure that our methodology is sound and robust. So on the onboard side, as Nick mentioned, it's purely random. We're administering this quarterly. We start with designing a sampling plan that ensures that each line in the system is represented. The survey goals are allocated in proportion to ridership along each of those lines. And we monitor everything from completeness, response rate, how different languages in the field, the runs we're on control sheets, and in real time as best we can on board those buses. So there's a number of different survey options on board buses for your riders to participate using. The first is paper. We have bilingual interviewers that randomly select and administer those paper surveys. We also have controlled access QR codes. So if there's standing room conditions and riders are having difficulty, filling out a paper survey, they can quickly scan a QR code and do it from their own device. We also have tablets in the field so that if we need to administer it via interview or caddy style, we can certainly do that. So onboard surveys, random selection, FTA best practices. We've been doing this for 15 to 20 years. We're really, when it comes to ensuring representative line level data, the best in the country, quite honestly. And on the community value side, slightly different approach. It's more of a hybrid approach. We know different age groups respond differently. You can't just do purely telephone surveys or mail surveys, because ultimately the results just come back older. They tend to be old respondents. So what we do is we deploy a hybrid approach. It starts with a cover letter and a mail packet that legitimizes the survey, signed by leadership there at RTA, gives them an opportunity to fill out the survey there on paper and return it in a postage paid envelope. We then follow up with an online and digital campaign. So we'll email this online survey to potential respondents. We'll text them. So if they're at a meeting, those types of things, or appointment, they see that, they can quickly click on that link and do it over their phone at their convenience. And then ultimately we call back those that were randomly selected to complete the survey and ask them if they hadn't completed it over via those other modes to complete it over the phone with an experienced interviewer. So that's kind of our approach to the community value and onboard survey, just at a high level, our methodology and some of our experience that we've had in deploying it in over the past decades.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask other board members if they have questions or comments. Let's start with Trustee Smith-Wingham, please.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing the information about the methodology. My question is really about the survey questions and just making sure that they are meeting our community where they are, right? Because some of these questions can be very technical, and just want to make sure that we understand the demographic of those who we serve, and that the surveys are, like I said, meet them where they are.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. I didn't know, Nick, if that's for you or.
You go ahead, Aaron. I'll follow up as needed.
Sure.
If I could just ask, just because we still have a lot to get through today and we haven't started the board meeting yet, if we could make the answers brief and or follow up with board members afterward, that would be great. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So we have over 15 transit agencies that we administer these surveys for across the country. So benchmarking is really important, obviously. So we spend some time with Nick and his group and leadership to ensure that the questions that we're asking can be benchmarked, and that really helps developing scores, those types of things, and goals. But we do spend a ton of time. We do our own focus groups, just so you know, internally with some of our clients, some of the community members, those types of things, to ensure that the questions that we're asking are relatable. They're, the questions can be understood by different race, ethnicities, income groups, age levels, those types of things. So we do spend a lot of time looking at the questions and making sure that that if asked, that they yield the response that we're looking for.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members?
I have a quick comment. I think I brought this up before, but I'd just like to renew my request to not ask the question about dependent versus choice. I do like the second question there of what is the number one reason you choose public transportation, but I'd like to hear that from everyone. But that dependent choice binary, I'd like to remove that if possible. So we ask this of all modes. It's of each mode, so it's on 13 among others, but we ask if are you dependent on RTA buses or on RTA to travel to and from your destination? That question, I would like to nix that from this. 13 and every mode. It's on others too.
I would recommend, we'll follow up with the board. We don't want to make wholesale changes given one impression, but we do appreciate the information and make sure that we review that with the board to make sure we have consensus. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Terrific. Thank you so much. Keep doing the hard work to understand what's in our customers' heads and also the communities. So thank you. Okay. Moving on to the general manager report, please.
I just stayed up here, so we'll be a little quick on this one. And I do appreciate all of the input, so we'll follow up individually. So Ms. Wiggum and Mr. Sleesman will follow up with you on your requests for those adjustments. I will be relatively quick here for the first quarter management report. You do have this at the dais. It should be a document that looks like this. This is the first quarter management report. You do get this on a quarterly basis. I would just bring your attention to pages 6 and 7. I will kind of run through this chart here, but the basics of it go through our operating revenues. And if you are looking at the third column there, the actual year to date, that's where you want to draw your attention. Those are the numbers that are reflective of the first quarter of 2026. So you can see through the operating revenues, the passenger fares, and then it takes you through some of the other income revenue sources. We're basically at around $7.5 million all told for revenues coming into the authority. And then we do go into the operating expenses in total. So we are down a little bit from year over year in that category. And there's additional information on those reasonings. Part of that, of course, we have student fares, and those invoices get paid a little differently. So some of that is due to timing. But generally, we are a little down when you compare us to last year for ridership and passenger fares. However, there are adjustments when you look into on the upside. And I went to the next screen here so we can get through this in a little bit of a quick clip. If you look at the third row again, actual year to date for the first quarter, you'll see an overall synopsis. And at the bottom, you'll see the healthcare expenses actually have been nearly 20% lower from year over year. So this is really important. We're starting to really reorganize ourselves and really push some of those mitigating programs to make sure that people are taking advantage of the health care benefits that they have, hopefully in preemptive care, to make sure that they are also less dependent on the health care options that we do have over time. So we are starting to see some adjustments in that area. You'll also notice utilities are a little different when you get to the actual versus the budget. We've reduced in certain areas when you get into the payroll and salaries and overtime. We've talked to you about that before. We're very much taking a cut on extra expenses that we could be able to get around otherwise. So overtime is one of those, to make sure that we're not excessive in that area and then blowing the budget, so to speak. Purchase transportation is a little bit of an anomaly there. It is a timing issue when we get to how those invoices are paid. So our ridership is actually up for paratransit, but you may see an adverse or reverse sort of influx of monies because of the timing on when those invoices are paid. So I just want to assure you that paratransit does continue to rise. We have not seen dips in ridership on that. Actually, I will also go through these last two slides, and then I'll bring your attention to a couple of items that I think might be helpful as you review the document itself. For transfers to other funds, I always want to make sure that you understand what transfers are being made throughout the agency on a quarterly basis. No transfers has been made in quarter one for revenue stabilization. However, we have put nearly $1 million into the 27th pay. When you get to the capital, of course, we talk about bonds and capital improvement funds. You can see those transfers there on the screen. And then our insurance, we make sure that we transfer a healthy amount at the tune of $2 million to be able to replenish that. This is a quick synopsis to be able to really show you visually what we are putting our money into. So when you look, there's about 3 or 4 categories that are the top dogs every time. Bus improvement reigns supreme, almost at $14 million. Rail car replacement just after that. You've heard a lot of information on that. And then facilities improvements are really important as well, especially as we start to look into things as escalators and elevators and making sure that we have the basic mechanics operational for our customers. We are always in mode of state of good repair. That could be an HVAC unit, that could be a roofing expenditure, all of these things to make sure that we can continue operations in a appropriate manner. And then we also have the state of good repair for rail projects, and those are the supporting mechanisms behind the actual cars themselves, and you can see those adjustments as well. Just for information, I will not go through it for you because of time, but I just wanted to flag a couple of things in the report. Page 15 is a new addition. That's a quarterly ridership report that has been requested per board leadership. It is included in there. And we, on the staff side, look at a monthly projection. That is a quarterly ridership report. So you'll see that. On pages 16 to 17, also just take a deep dive into that. There are a lot of questions about what our outreach is externally and how we are forging new partnerships. You'll see a list of activities. That's always in the book, but I want to make sure that you know it's there. Those are external affairs and marketing activities and stakeholder outreach. Also included in that is a commuter advantage listing. These are folks that we're trying to actively go out and say, hey, would you, business X, like to be able to be a commuter advantage customer? This starts to really get RTA into their workplace environment, and you'll see a listing of those sales pitches that we went out and did over the quarter. Also on page 24 is my last recommendation. This is an SBE activity sheet. This is our transition from DBE, disadvantaged business, to small business enterprise. This is at the recommendation of the Federal Transit Administration, Department of Transportation, actually put out an interim final rule earlier in toward the end of 2025, which caused us to make a significant change on our contracts, if you recall. So this is the SBE activity. So take a look at that and see if you have any questions. We do have Carl Kirkland. Carl, please raise your hand in the back there, that can take any questions after the board, almost said retreat, we're here for a while, board meeting. So if you have any questions, let us know. Other than that, that's it.
Thanks so much. Questions or comments from board members?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Sleesman.
Second, McPherson.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's fine. I'd like to call to order the GCRTA Board of Trustees meeting for Tuesday, May 19th. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Pichetti, Ms. Elder,
Here. Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Ms. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here.
Ms. McPherson,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Could I have the certification regarding a notice of meeting?
Mr. President, I advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance and that all usual notification has been given to the media and other interested persons. All requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you very much. Next, we have approval of minutes for the April 21st meeting. Those were in your packet. If there are no edits, I could have a motion and a second.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Love.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. This is on agenda and non-agenda items. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Well, go ahead, sir.
Well, good morning.
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 Mr. President of the board, to Mrs. Birdsong Terry, on 4:30:26 at or about 6:45 p.m., I boarded the number 9 bus, 3339, coach number, going eastbound at the Little Italy Rapid Station. Whereas a black man was standing at the front of the door next to the bus driver. I asked him if I could use the rail or grab bars and lean on the rail. I was at the bus, the fare box, wanting to pay my fare. He said no, and would not let me, and would not be considered of an RTA bus rider or the disabled. I'm disabled. I played college football. I had knee surgery. Now I have balance issues. It's called atrophy, where the muscles have deteriorated and can't hold my weight. He argued with me from Little Italy to my stop at Severance. Of course, I didn't argue with him. You know, he was just talking to me. Further, the bus driver would not let the bus kneel or let it down from me. I reported this experience to the call center and to Mr. Caver. Mr. Christian Watson at the Windermere Garage, and to Mr. Kumar, who gave me Miss Kim Wright. Miss Kim Wright told me that she'd be pulling the surveillance tapes, but she lied. She did nothing. More still, on 5/1/26 at or about 6:52 p.m., the man and the bus driver of 4:30:26 were on the number 9 bus eastbound, coach number 3806. Inasmuch, the bus stopped at the Little Italy bus stop, opened the rear doors, and let a man and a woman who was at the bus stop with me board through the rear doors and left me. I couldn't board through the rear doors. Thus, I waited for the next number 9 bus. Wherefore, Miss Terry, I ask that you discipline this man and the bus driver. I have pictures. I took pictures on my phone of the man and the bus driver. He told me that he was training the bus driver, but he didn't have on the RTA, any RTA gear. And I say, Ms. Terry, that he can't train the bus driver. First of all, RTA has to have good customer service skills. Mr. Caver has got to be accessible. He's got to look at what his bus drivers are doing. He don't randomly review any tapes. He don't see what the bus drivers are doing. You got to have good customer service. Ms. Terry, I want to thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Mr. Kumar. First of all, RTA is very important to the city of Cleveland, to Cuyahoga County. I got to have RTA. I love riding RTA, the train, the bus. RTA used to be wonderful. When I had a black man from Fairfax as the president of the board, you named the Quincy Rapid station after him. You know, George Dixon messed this thing up.
Hey, thank you so much for your comments.
Sir,
Appreciate it.
just to piggyback, I appreciate your information. If you had it written down, I can take it from you. Otherwise, I'll make sure to reach back out to you, and we'll have a conversation on the details of it, so we can follow up with you. Okay.
Tell me what you want me to do. Go sit down and wait.
Actually, if we can have Dr. Caver, and then we'll make sure we get your information. Brent, if you could make sure to get his information, and then we'll follow back up with you, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Are there others in the audience that would like to make a comment? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Hinkle. I'm a long time.
Good evening, sir, or good afternoon.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Hinkle. I'm a long-time resident of Cleveland, a long-term RTA commuter. I just want to offer a simple advice. This caller who calls in to address the issues on the number 15, the number 48, and the number 50, the person should come down to the meetings in person to address the concerns, the issues about the routes, instead of over the phone a lot. And what I suggest you do is get the calls, information, then invite them to come to the meetings rather than complaints up over the phone. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think it'll be good if you come to the meetings. And last but least, what we need to do, whenever the elevators are out of order on the rail lines, they should post a sign and announce the train operators need to announce when elevators are out of order, so the people who are with American Disability will know what's going on. So this is all I want to say.
Thank you, sir. Do you have anyone else in the audience? Yes.
Hello. I got a couple.
If you could just move your microphone down just a bit. Thank you so much.
I got a couple of things I wanted to say about the RTA. Number one, about the rail, the lowering the rail. The bus drivers really have a problem with that, a lot of them. They don't want to lower the rail for anybody, whether it's an elderly, you want a walker, what they do not want it. They'll even pass you up because they don't want to lower it. And it's a problem because I've fallen on the bus many times because that rail is pretty high for us to step up on. A lot of the new drivers are very disrespectful about that. And the people that are training them are the ones that have been here, and they're like telling the new drivers about the people that they're having problems with. So the new drivers are coming in with attitudes from what the old drivers are putting on the new drivers. And so I guess they don't have the sense to use their own mind to come in with a good attitude where you may not have an attitude with that person, but now you got attitude because this is what they've put on them. These are people that y'all got training, these people that's putting this on them. Also, there is a lot of smoking, finding people masturbating on the trains. They're smoking and drinking, and the police is not coming to get them, and even when they do, they're just putting them off. It's like they need some consequences. They need more than just being put off. They need to go to jail or something. It's something that lets them know you cannot do this. And it's continually happening. Damn, it was something else I wanted to mention. The rail, the cousin.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Yes, Lou.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Right now, you have heard 3 different writers, especially I think 2 of them are first-timers. Lots of these things are also related to our service reductions as well. When you decrease the frequency, you will have less buses, and then you have more people waiting. All these things may happen more often. Can our system, especially the customer service, handle all the phone calls or emails or even stop by telling us our service quality needs to be improved? That's one thing. And this article just published from Cleveland.com back on 17th, Sunday. Lots of the things described in this particular news articles, for me as a community member, I have heard them and experienced them not just last week, not just during COVID-19, maybe even before. And also, as the bridge of the GCRTA and the community, since right now I'm a CAC member formally, not as an observer anymore, I would like to actually request all of you start writing our systems a little bit more often. You probably can see these things yourselves. Some of the issues I have addressed in the past. However, I would like to end my comments with a high note. Last month, the Board of Trustee meetings, coincidentally, I was in Columbus at a Ohio Housing Conference. I couldn't be here. At that time, I want to tell you and our writers or any community members right now, you are live streaming this or watch this video later. The public hearings on service reductions was a wonderful experience. It was completely different from the time before Mr. Burson Terry became our general manager. In this Cleveland.com articles, they questioned about Ms. Burson Terry's salary. For me, attending this GCRTA's meetings, all kinds of meetings, from back in 2016-17 continuously, I would say GCRTA's internal culture has been improved a lot. In our 3 sessions of the public hearings on service reductions, all the people sitting at the seat here, they were courteous, friendly. They used plain English, explain everything, detail. The material they presented on the screen were way more easier for writers or community members to understand. They even stayed here when there was no new people coming in to make in-person comments or no new calls. This is completely different from my experience before your arrival. In the past, we had a quarterly service change public hearings. Sometimes the people at the microphone would even be belittled by the people sitting there. But at that time, Board of Trustees did not know that. Same thing I have to mention. Last week, Monday, I had to send in again photos, evidence, emails to Ms. Burson Terry and some other management members. We still have equipment on the buses. They can stay broken for months, not get repaired. That means our structures and community member also reflects, even your bus drivers, our bus drivers reflects. Sometimes we have not enough soldiers, but too many managers. Our structure, management structure, has to be also seriously looked at. This may help our funding situation as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anyone else in the
Mr.
audience?
President, there's one comment here.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I just want to say, be encouraged. No job, whatever your job, your home, or whatever, is going to be 100% every day. It takes work. It takes communication. Be encouraged. Treat everybody nice when you're talking to them. Show some humanity. It's how you deal with people. I came down here. The lady, Mila, picked me up. I hadn't seen Mila over a month. I was so happy, and she said, "Hi." You know, it's that type of atmosphere that you. Is it? Just be encouraged. Be kind to each other. You don't know what people are going through. Everybody's going to have good days. Everybody can have bad days.
Thank you so
But
much.
if you're having a bad day today, try to make it a better day tomorrow. Be encouraged. Be kind. Thank you for your service. I appreciate each one of you, the ones here, the ones behind the scenes. All my drivers, all my dispatchers, Harper, all of them. Tony, all of them. When you call in to the different ones, I spoke to Miss Dawson. I hadn't spoke to her in a while. It's just a blessing to talk to them. Connie, all of them. Just be encouraged. To all the fathers, to all the men that have shared some type of wisdom and knowledge on people, happy Father's Day in advance.
Thank you so much.
God bless each one of you.
Sir, in the back.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I am Arthur Rader, Senior Vice President of Transit at Arrive. I'm here today to talk about the ticket vending machine proposal and contract for award that is on today's agenda. First, I want to thank the board, agency staff. We know what it takes to run a procurement of this size with this professionalism. We recognize that this project is about more than just replacing ticket vending machines. It's about improving your customer experience and the experience of your riders. Arrive submitted a proposal that we thought would be very attractive to the RTA at a very competitive price of $6.1 million for the total contract value. We've already manufactured over 350 Buy America compliant TVMs of the same model that we proposed, which is no small task to meet Buy America compliance. We have 13,000 units of these in service and 50,000 ticket vending machines. I'm here today because we didn't see a qualitative or really a quantitative scoring matrix in either the committee meeting or the board award package, and I'm just curious of what decisions led to selecting the recommended vendor for award. We know from your action item today to spend another $3.3 million with Masabi that a Masabi integration is critical to the success of your new ticket vending machines. Arrive already has 5 active Masabi integrations, even submitted in our BAFO response a letter of recommendation from Masabi stating their confidence in working with our system. Furthermore, as we discussed in the interview, we were prepared to deliver these ticket vending machines either at the end of this year or in early 2027 to allow you to get those into the hands of your system and your riders sooner. Because it's already a proven Buy America compliant machine with the Masabi integration, already proven, tested, and in revenue service. To sum it up, I know we're not the only one. I know there are other companies that can manufacture excellent TVMs. I was just looking for a little more transparency and really to understand what led the decision away from a proven Buy America compliant product at a very competitive price with the proven integration that you need with the Masabi system and how you got to the decision. So thank you. I do want to say one thing in reading and listening to Ms. Birdsong Terry and your presentation. Your customer service numbers are fantastic. The fact that that many people actually said they like riding your system, that's something to absolutely be proud of. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Sean Becker, Director of Procurement. I can certainly touch base with you. We always offer a chance to have a debriefing, so appreciate your participation.
Thank you. Mr. Rader, did I get that right? Yes. Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time to come here for sure. And we do understand there's multiple avenues to go, but as Sean mentioned, we'll make sure to follow up with you in person if makes sense since you're here. So he's going to be your primary contact as a Director of Procurement, and make sure to let me know if you need anything further. Thank you. And yes, they are hard to come by, those numbers we try to hold on to.
Anyone else in person? Okay. If not, do we have anyone on the phone, Brett?
We have one caller. Caller extension 0387. Please go ahead.
This is Eric Stewart. My questions are going to be addressed to Anthony Carafoli. I think I mispronounced your last name. Aaron Rinkin of the ETC company. I think I mispronounced your last name. Nick Bigger, India Birdsong. So first to Anthony, could you tell me, if you have the numbers available to you now, were the tracks needed to be updated in order to accommodate all the new cars, rail cars that are coming in? And if so, at what cost? And are those tracks completely updated now? To Nick, I would like to know, why did you not give the exact number, since you had to count the number of people in your customer service survey? You said between 15 and 1,600. You should have the exact number. In addition to that, did every single one of those people respond to every single question, and that's how you came to the conclusion that you had 88 or 82% customer satisfaction? If not, could you give the exact number of how many people responded to each question so that it's clear as to what degree that 82% is accommodating that particular question? Because if you don't have that, then people don't know. I have repeatedly asked you, could you give the numbers that your percentages are based on, and so that people can compare them also to the number of people that are riding or using the service? If you're only talking to hypothetically 50 people and only 40 of those people responded to all the questions, and then you're coming up with a percentage, people should know that's what you're doing. In addition to that, my question to India Birdsong is, you repeated the letter B minus 5 times in your addressing the Board of Trustees. However, you never said what the number was that gave you the B minus. And then you said, this shows that we're being honest. Does it mean that you're being dishonest when you get a B? Should people think that you're being dishonest, that you're giving a B minus, and you really should be getting a C minus or a D? We don't know, because you won't give the numbers of people that were asked questions, and you won't give the number of people that responded to the questions. So if you have the number of people that responded to the questions that gave you a B minus, could you state them in this recorded public forum? And
What's your next question, Mr. Stewart? What's your next question? We'll make a note of that.
And I noticed you're cutting me off, but you didn't cut anybody else off. So my next question is to Aaron of the ETC Corporation that does the surveys. Could you come back on and address the same concerns that I have? I'm a customer. I'm not being paid to come here. So I'd like to know, the percentage that you gave today, could you tell me the numbers of people that they're based on? And also, could you address as to whether you talk to the same people twice in your surveys? Because that's important. That's how customers really know, Aaron, to what degree their satisfaction is being conveyed by the public, the ridership, the people that pay money to use this taxpayer-funded agency. Could you come back on and do that? And be clear, Aaron, if you do come back on, and Anthony, if you do come back on, these people hang up on me. They don't let me hang around to hear your response by phone.
We'll take your comments down, and I'm sure management can get back to you.
Yes, we do have all the information, and I believe, I don't want to give the wrong number, but I did say it in the presentation, it's around 82 out of 100, if I'm not mistaken, for the B minus, and we'll be more than happy to direct you to our website where we'll be able to post a lot of that information as well. Just as information we are working on, and Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, web page for customer experience. Thank you.
Brent, do we have any web comments?
There was one web form comment submitted, also by Eric Stewart with similar comments. The full comment will be included in the meeting minutes.
Thank you so much. Next to any committee reports, we did have a board governance committee meeting 2 weeks ago. You wanted to comment on that?
Yeah, just quickly, I appreciate those of you who could make it and board members or new board members, and those who couldn't make it. I'll just share that we did pass out kind of a little informal guidance for communications among board members and then between board members and management as kind of a little bit of a guiding document that was consistent with our discussion in the communications retreat and then the retreat earlier this year. And I welcome comments, ideally by the end of the month, if you have them. And if you need a copy, I'm happy to share it with you. I brought some extras. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Do we have any other chairs that have a committee report?
Yes, I'll report for the Compensation Committee. As you know, and as we've discussed in the past, the board has 2 direct reports, Mr. Garofoli and Ms. Birdsong Terry. We reported on the report relating to Mr. Garofoli, I believe, a month ago. And we've now completed the report for Ms. Birdsong Terry. So I'm going to read just very, very briefly, somewhat paraphrased. The Compensation Committee of the GCRTA is pleased to report that it has completed its 2025 performance review and evaluation of Mrs. India L. Birdsong Terry. As part of this process and in accordance with her current amended and restated employment agreement, the Compensation Committee conducted a detailed performance evaluation, including feedback and comments submitted by board trustees. In addition, consistent with its annual evaluation process, the Compensation Committee reviewed external salary market data for Mrs. Terry's position. Due to the current budgetary constraints, a management directive was issued by GCRTA on November 14, 2025, restricting any increase in base salary compensation of non-bargaining employees for the 2026 year based on 2025 performance. Consistent with this directive and the terms of her employment agreement, Mrs. Terry will not receive a base salary increase for 2026, and therefore her base salary for 2026 will remain at the 2025 level of $348,400. In addition, Mrs. Terry has agreed to waive any performance bonus for 2025, which she might otherwise have been received per the terms of her employment agreement, and the Compensation Committee fully supports this decision. The Compensation Committee wants to emphasize that these compensation decisions are based on current financial constraints of GCRTA and is no way reflective of Mrs. Terry's 2025 or overall performance. The Compensation Committee recognizes and appreciates Mrs. Terry's significant contributions to the GCRTA for 2025 and has provided that feedback to her directly. And finally, the Compensation Committee has requested that this report be delivered to the Board of Trustees and entered into the minutes of the Board of Trustee meeting today, which we now have done. So thank you to the Compensation Committee for your hard work and efforts. And that completes the report.
Thank you so much. Other committee reports?
I'll just be brief. The Community Advisory Committee has a meeting July 10th, just as an FYI. And I know that they previously held a special meeting, I want to say April 24th, to get some feedback relating to service adjustments. So, but you can look forward to the next full meeting on July 10th.
Thank you so much.
Could you share the time and location?
Oh.
Sorry to put you.
No, you're okay.
You can come back to us. It's fine.
Thanks.
Great.
It's at 9 a.m. in this room.
Thank you so much. Would you mind if I take the agenda out of order for a second? We want to do a little housekeeping here and jump down and handle one resolution first, if we could. If that's okay, Brent. I would just like to, based on who needs to leave the meeting, jump down to Resolution B, 2026-27. If we could just do that, and then we'll go back in order in the agenda after that.
2627, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of sales tax supported bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the costs of capital improvements to the authority's transportation system in the approximate principal amount of $35 million, authorizing the Sixth Amendment to the trust agreement with Argent Institutional Trust Company as successor trustee to the Huntington National Bank, authorizing a pledge of and lien on the sales tax revenues to secure the authority's indebtedness and other matters related to such sale of sales tax-supported bonds.
Thank you so much. You've heard that resolution. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved, Pichetti.
Second, McPherson.
Any comments from Raj or India before we move on?
Raj, go ahead. I'll piggyback you.
Yeah, not comments. I mean, these are the debt issuance, as most of us know, have been under discussions for quite some time. This is largely to mitigate the impact of one of the other recommendations, another resolution that is on the agenda, which reduces or proposes to reduce the contribution to capital from 10% to 5%. And this debt issuance is needed to mitigate any negative impact on the capital program. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar?
Yes.
Ms. Pichetti?
Yes.
Ms. Elder?
Abstain. Abstain, sorry.
Mayor Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Harper?
Abstain.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
Ms. McPherson?
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman?
Yes.
Mayor Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to jump back up to introduction of new employees and announcement of promotions. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Board President Kumar, India Birdsong Terry, General Manager and CEO, entire board. It's nice to see a full board. Also to thank the folks that have come out to share your thoughts. Appreciate it. My name is Ida Marshall. I'm here to talk about the new hires and promotions, those individuals that are now joining the GCRTA family. We will start with our part-time bus operators, and that is Devon Brown, Philip Chambers, Emil Chambliss, Andrea Curry-Sheard, Ali Gates, Rashawn Hardy, Michelle Hightower, Kayla Lampkin, and Joshua Mitchell. Finishing on with the heart of our organization, the bus operator part-time is Tamia Smith, Maurice Summons, and Diamond Tyson. We have some new folks joining the engineering division. I know they'll be happy to have Emily Attack as a construction engineer, as well as Douglas Reisenborough, a resident engineer too. And now we have a new manager of cybersecurity and enterprise database, and that Craig Campbell joins our team. In addition to a new mechanic is Nathan Sowell, as well as Jordan Miller, a laborer in the rail department. Let's take a moment and like to congratulate Ibrahim Masood, who is now working as a new financial accountant too. We give him a little round of applause. I know he's watching. Thank you. And that will conclude our new hire and promotions for May 2026. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Always good news. Next, we're going to go to resolutions 2026-26, please.
Appropriating the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority's expenditures or outlays for the fiscal year 2027 capital improvement budget.
Okay, you've heard that, and I was going to ask Raj if he had any comments, but if not, you want to pinch hit?
Sure. Can you hear me? We just really appreciate the work that's gone into this document, particularly the finance and engineering and operations divisions. This capital improvement budget is not an easy thing to come by. We've got a lot of things, as we mentioned, that are in state of good repair that need some TLC. There he is. And then also making sure that we can create those structures that will provide stability for years to come. I just want to mention that there's been a lot of robust debate and discussion about priority projects in a very positive light. I think we all understand that there are several items that we want to make sure continue to be getting that TLC to make our riders experience that much better. And so this is reflective of that effort and also continuing to be good stewards of public dollars. So with that, Raj, if I missed anything, be short.
You didn't miss anything.
Great.
There we go.
Okay. You've heard the resolution. Do I have a motion and a second, please?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Mayor Weiss.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is passed. Resolution 2026-28.
Amending Chapter 460 of the Codified Rules and Regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Okay, you've heard that. We've talked about all of these in committee with except one exception. That memo was in your packet from management. Could I have a motion and a second on this?
So move, Pichetti.
Second, Elder.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 2026-28 is adopted. 2026-29.
Adopting Chapter 852, Protection of Transit System Assets, Employees, and Passengers of the Codified Rules and Regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Okay, you've heard that as well. A motion and a second.
Motion, Smith Wiggum.
Second, McPherson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 2026-29 is adopted. 2026-30.
Authorizing contract number 2026-56 with American Bus and Accessories, Inc. for the purchase of 26 paratransit vehicles as specified for a total contract amount not to exceed $3,989,791.
Yeah, this is great news. Look forward to adopting this. I'm going to make a motion on this.
Second, Pichetti.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote. Resolution carries. 2026-31.
Authorizing contract number 2026-35 with UKG Chrono Systems, LLC, to provide annual SaaS subscription and support services for a 3-year period in an amount not to exceed $497,822.02, based on an amount not to exceed $161,060.54 for year 1, $165,852.35 for year 2, and $170,869.13 for year 3.
This is just an extension of, I think, an existing contract for our timekeeping. So I'll make a motion on that as well. Do we have a second?
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 31 is adopted. 2026-32.
Authorizing contract number 2026-63 with Masabi LLC to provide EasyFare mobile ticketing services in a total contract amount not to exceed $3,342,740 for a period of 2 years and 10 months.
Thank you for that. Are there any comments? If not, a motion and a second, please.
Motion, Love.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 32 is adopted as well. 2026-33.
Authorizing contract number 2025-135 with Sigma USA Corp. to provide ticket vending machines in an amount not to exceed $5,910,422 for the base contract, and an option for operational and maintenance services in an amount not to exceed $549,345, and an option for fair media in an amount not to exceed $130,000 for a total contract amount not to exceed $6,589,767.
Great. You heard that resolution. Any comments from management? Okay. If not, a motion and a second, please.
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Smith Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 33 is adopted. 2026-34.
Authorizing contract number 2026-003 with Swiftly, Inc. to purchase the Swiftly Transit Data Platform in a total contract amount not to exceed $1,330,259.66 for a period of 3 years, with a 1-year option in an amount not to exceed $469,821.71, and an 81-day option in an amount not to exceed $109,474.89 for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,909,556.26.
Thank you for that. You've heard that resolution. If there are no comments, a motion and a second, please.
Motion Pachetti?
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 34 is adopted. 2026-35.
Authorizing contract number 2026-006 with TK Elevator Corporation to provide elevator and escalator maintenance and repair services in an amount not to exceed $3,120,000 for a 3-year base period with 2 one-year options in amounts not to exceed $1,100,000 and $1,120,000 respectively, for a total contract amount not to exceed $5,340,000 for a period of 5 years.
Thank you, Merritt, for that. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion, Love.
Second, Smith-Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 35 is passed. 2026-36.
Authorizing contract number 2026-10 with Railworks Track Services LLC for Project 52Z, reconstruction of the waterfront transit line, Overlook, in an amount not to exceed $1,192,000.
Thank you for that. Do we have a motion and a second for that, or resolution as well?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Mayor Weiss.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 36 is adopted. 2026-37.
Authorizing contract number 2026-20 with Northeast Ohio Trenching Service, Inc. for Project 19.79 Shaker Square Substation S4 building repairs in an amount not to exceed $715,000.
Thank you for that. I will make a motion for that. Do I have a second?
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 37 is adopted. 2026-38.
Authorizing contract number 2026-22 with Edgar Trent Construction Company, LLC, for trunk-line fiber optic network construction in an amount not to exceed $848,605.
Thank you. You've heard that resolution. Do I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Smith-Wiggum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 38 is adopted. Next, we have the Secretary Treasurer's Report from Raj Gotham, Deputy GM, Manager of Finance.
Hello. Let's try if the, yep, it works. Mayor Kumar, members of the board, my name is Raj Gautam. I'm the Deputy General Manager of Finance and the Board Secretary Treasurer, here to present the information largely for April. We start off reviewing the economic conditions that we typically do. The Federal Open Market Committee maintained interest rates at 3.75% at the April 28th, 29th meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for June 16th and 17th. The annual inflation rate, as we all are aware, have been gyrating a little bit. They had hit a high of 9.1% back in June 2022, went down to 2.4% in February 2026, and rose to 3.8% in April 2026. April inflation increased 0.5% when compared to the previous month. We've started sharing results of the consumer survey conducted by the University of Michigan. Consumer sentiment showed a decrease of over 10% back in April when compared to March, and the preliminary results from May show it is essentially unchanged from the April levels. Consumer sentiment, as we can see, month over month was a 3.2% decrease, year over year a 7.7% decline. Current economic conditions as part of the survey, month over month a 9% decrease, year over year 18.8% decline. Consumer expectations, month over month 0.8% increase, and year over year is 1.3% increase. We look at this to see if this would in some way impact the sales tax revenue that we collect on a monthly basis. So this is kind of important data that we tend to review and keep an eye on. Ridership through April 2026. In April 2026, ridership was 0.8% lower when compared to 2025 levels. When we compare our ridership data to pre-COVID, which is the table on the right-hand side, we were 2.8 million rides lower, roughly 27% lower at this point. As we've discussed previously, passenger fares does correlate closely to the ridership data. Any differences will be a result of timing differences in billing and collections, et cetera. But when we look at April fare revenue, it was 3.8% below April 2025. On a year-to-date basis, it's 6% lower. When we compare it to pre-COVID levels, 3.1 million lower, or roughly 25%. This is where I'm going to have to look at my phone. Sales tax tends to come in sometime between the 15th and the 20th of the month. Up until just a few minutes ago, the May numbers had not come in, which they have. So these numbers that you're looking at on this slide were previously shared. And if I may just pull that up, May numbers came in just a little bit ago. They were 20.8 million. And I'll provide some comparative information shortly as soon as I pull the text up. So it was 20.8 million. This, once again, is based on the economic activity in February. It is 2.5% higher than May 2025 levels. And on a year-to-date basis, we are 4.6% higher when compared to 2025 levels. Selected data, long-term debt outstanding as of the end of 2025 was 13.9 million. Average investment yield on a year-to-date basis is 3.63%. Total cash and investments, 334.8 million, of which 27.8 million is the unrestricted general fund cash balance, which is in compliance with the board policy of maintaining a 30-day reserve. With that, I'll entertain any questions or comments from the board.
Thank you very much for the report. Any questions, comments from the trustees? Easy day.
Thank you. Madam CEO.
Next, we'll have the general manager's report from India Birdsong Terry.
Can you hear me now? Thank you. The green light is misleading. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you for your confidence in me to continue to lead the team here at RTA. We are in this together, and so I do take that very seriously and hope to lead by example. So with that, I will continue through the report. Always start out with good news, which is usually meaning that we get some money. And so we were successfully in securement of a $10 million grant. And this is an award from the Ohio Department of Transportation, otherwise known as ODOT, for support of a light rail track reconstruction program. This is one that we always ask for more, and we're happy for what we get. So we were within a few million shy of what we asked for, but we do appreciate the support by ODOT. They continually see the investment benefit in our track program. And so this is really something that's necessary to make sure that those rail cars can operate successfully. So thank you to Mike Shipper and Carolyn Young and Mary Flannery and a whole host of folks that I am missing to be able to say thank you for a successful application and always showing up to be able to represent RTA in the best light possible when dealing with the state of course, and all of our federal partners. But we do appreciate Ohio and also Director Borton, who consistently picks up my call when we have to explain why we're coming before them for a track program. And this will fund the upcoming Blue Line track reconstruction, just as information. All right. Now on to more of kind of the internal updates. I always try to let you know what's happening on the home front when it comes to keeping our employees and our staff and our internal team advised. This is not the only forum where we kind of give the update on what's happening at RTA. So I did have a spring town hall. I'd like to take ownership of that in a whole host of a lot of folks that come from administration and marketing to be able to put that together. This is a semi-annual staff meeting, which is basically what it turns into. So it's an internal mechanism to let folks know what's happening. And we do have it digitized in a way where folks are able to dial in from the different districts. So not all 2,000 people have to cram into this room. We do have them available to be able to dial in and kind of hear what's going on and see it, much like you would listen to a board meeting. So it was really great to be able to talk through it. Fireside chats, we like to highlight some of the things that are happening underneath the hood, so to speak. And we had facilities maintenance as well as Power and Way highlighted, and also gives them an opportunity to let their colleagues and counterparts know what they're doing out at the districts. Also, I'd like to let you know whenever I complete an interview on behalf of the authority, I was able to be featured through Newsmakers with Armin Budish. Armin Budish, if you remember Armin, he was the former Cuyahoga County executive. So he now is spending his days as a host for this kind of public access channel. And it's really great to be able to have a forum for public officials such as myself to be able to kind of talk about what's going on their side of the house. Other potential or other previous interviewees included United Way, Metro Parks, and the like, and so we're in good company that way. We talked about a lot of things. It was almost like rehashing the town hall into 30 minutes. And so we talked about a lot of what you see up on the dais there, including visions and what we expect to move forward as far as rail and finance and ridership. And of course, potential levy came up as well. So we had a lot of good conversations. Please check it out on YouTube if you have opportunity. Also, low-no grant. Again, workforce development. Anytime that we can host members of our advocacy groups or other fellow trainers and advocates and instructors for technology, we like to do so. So here you'll see a photo of some of our staff being able to really kind of have a behind the scenes look at operations and how we are able to respond to community needs and workforce development and continuing to be innovative and improve on some of the operational aspects of what happens behind paratransit and then Woodhill, which is connected to our CBM, our central bus maintenance. So everything that literally happens underneath the hood. So it was a great opportunity. And we appreciate training and instruction and HR for supporting us through that as well as operations. All right, I put this one in here. This is a little bit of an oddball slide, but I want to explain it. We did have a couple folks that did attend this particular event at City Club along with me and some of our staff as well from marketing. So thank you very much, Mr. Sleesman and Ms. McPherson, to be able to kind of spend their own time to really hear about some of the efforts that are going on regarding the Great Migration. And so those of you who may not be completely aware, this was basically the migration of coming into cities like Cleveland, so Chicago, New York, a lot of the Midwest and Eastern cities from the South and West. And these are folks of color generally who are coming and traveling in adverse conditions through 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you name it. And public transportation plays a role in that. Greyhound, of course, was the primary vehicle of, I wouldn't say of choice, but vehicle of necessity. That brought a lot of folks that look like me and you, all of us collectively, right, to be able to come to cities like Cleveland in search of better lives and better working conditions and family futures. Mr. Robert Edwards, he is full name, Robert Louis Brandon Edwards, I'll call him Mr. Edwards for the purposes of brevity, is doing a lot of research to be able to think about how to make people feel what that environment felt like to sit in the back or the front of the bus, to be able to actually feel the heat, be able to feel some of the constraints that were necessary in order to make that migration, and we fully support him in those efforts. It will be interesting to see how we can start to work together. As my question always remains, how does public transit play into that migration after they get to their destination, wherever it may be? So this is a great opportunity. We'll continue to kind of dabble in the arts a little bit with the support of the board to be able to see how this operates. And we'll keep you updated on future advisories as far as history is retold. All right, we also like to let you know of any new groundbreaking ceremonies. We did not host this, but we did attend. And if you recall, we've had several conversations of making sure that we're at the table. This is one of these such environments. So the new Huntington Bank Field for the Browns, the Haslam Group, did host a groundbreaking ceremony in Brook Park on April 30th at the site of where the new stadium will be. The anticipated start date for that stadium will be 2029 with the Brown season. That is quite aggressive, and we are maintaining our partnership and collaboration to make sure that we can help bring transit to that environment in 2029. So we'll continue to keep you updated on how that's going as we move forward. All right, this is a really fun TOD adjacent project. TOD, transit-oriented development, means a lot of things to a lot of people depending on when you ask them. It also means workforce development. And sometimes being able to just have a small part in that lexicon of building the kind of network through TOD makes all the difference. This was such an event where RTA, if you recall, maybe about a year ago at this point, we were able to sell off a small property under $10,000 that was necessary in order for Maselli Dairy to expand. And that really resulted in 50, 100, up to 250 new employees. They actually are breaking ground on one of their new silos and on one of their new cold storage locations. But for RTA, that might have been significantly more difficult. So we like to tout our partnership with Maselli's Dairy in a very positive light to give an example of what TOD can do. And we'll continue to bring you updates on their progression. Also, I'd like to let you know whenever I am at a retreat, and the recent retreat that I did attend externally was for University Hospitals. I have been nominated to join the board of University Hospital, and this is really a great boon to, I think, the partnership possibilities that can occur, just to be able to kind of unveil what transportation issues may arise from those that are trying to get to medical appointments. So this is part of the job and a part that I enjoy, being able to really talk to the quality of transportation, but also being able to really just talk through leadership in the region. And I am looking forward to serving on the board of UH, and I'll let you know what comes from that. Also, we had a lot of grand openings over the last 30 days. The other one that we have listed here is the Woodhill Station East. If you recall, maybe about a year or two ago, there was another one. This is phase 2 or 3 at this point. They have 8 phases on the docket. The connection is that we are located directly across the street from this particular building. They have cut the ribbon on this particular building. It's amazing when you walk through some of the units that are available for public housing. It is probably akin to something you would pay thousands of dollars for in New York City with access to public transit, literally within walking distance from your front door. This is the connection of TOD as well. So thank you to Jeffrey Patterson, the CEO for CMHA, for allowing me to speak and represent RTA. But it really is a boon to our movement, and really making sure that there's equity in transportation, no matter what side of town that you're on. And we'll continue to be at those ribbon cuttings and continue to have those new trains rolling into that station, and make sure that we are continually to be seen as housing stock continues to rise in Cleveland. All right, thank you, sir, I appreciate that, that's right. Also wanted to serve as a reminder, you have buttons and stickers and all of that kind of thing at the dais. Fare capping is coming soon. We promise this to you. And team, say it one time. What's the date? All right, June 1. We are, excuse me, committed to that. And this is just a reminder because our next board meeting will happen the day after. So we just wanted to remind the board members that this is the fare capping initiative, and this is more of that fare equity kind of conversation about being able to access account-based ticketing and payment options. There will be 3 celebratory kind of unveiling events in Tower City, West 117th, and Windermere Station. So those times are listed on June 1. If you have questions, please feel free to scan up there or ask any one of us after the meeting. Also, I just wanted to make sure, Sharon, make sure your mic is on. We had a lot of conversations about how do we get our name back out there? How do we rebrand? How do we get folks to understand what our new look looks like and that we're open to everybody? We're open for business. I'm going to ask Sharon to be able to talk about very briefly what the rollout of the new rebranding looks like and some of the featured locations where you'll see those new mechanisms.
Thank you, GM Terry. Good morning, members of the board. I'm Sharon Jenkins, Marketing Director. And our Moving Greater Cleveland Forward is GCRTA's refreshed brand campaign and the natural evolution of the Let's Go Together campaign used over the past 3 years. This approach maintains continuity and community recognition while adding more depth through vibrant imagery of people and route-inspired graphics, excuse me, that reinforce how transit connects every part of the rider's day. The campaign continues to focus on the core pillars of transit use in our community, connecting people to work and jobs, healthcare, education, and entertainment. The creative features people who feel genuine and reflective of GCRTA riders, showing transit as a part of everyday life and helping customers get to where they need to go throughout their day. Brand implementation is already underway at the Tower City Customer Service booths, which is in the lower right on the slide, as well as walkway windows planned next, that's the lower left. Additional campaign placements are coming soon, including the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Transit Center, pictured in the upper left, shelter panels and other marketing assets rolling out in June and throughout the summer. And together, these updates create a more consistent, engaging GCRTA brand presence across stations, customer-facing spaces, and the broader community.
Thank you, Sharon. Any questions for Sharon would be happy to take. I'm going to keep rolling with the presentation just due to time, but we'll happy to answer anything at the conclusion. But this is really a great piece of work by AdCom, as well as our who's our marketing partner down the street, as well as our internal marketing department, just to be able to refresh some of the campaign work that we have out there. All right, this came up earlier in the meeting, and so I just wanted to kind of just have a quick debrief on the special events operation. There are a lot of questions about, does RTA do anything for special events? And when I say that, first the answer is yes. We do a lot for special events, and we have a little bit of a different strategy when we know that we're going to be faced with multiple events happening within a very small footprint, which is our downtown central business district. So I'm going to actually ask Doc to be able to give, be brief please, a detail on what happened. We also have folks from the ICC, our command control center, that are here, and raise your hand please, let them know you're here, that handle a lot of the logistics through these dates, but really to be able to give you an idea of what we do and how we handle major events so that you have the confidence in us that we are prepared.
Thank you, Ms. Terry. Mayor Kumar, members of the board, members of the public, I am Flonse Caver, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at the Greater Cleveland RTA. And so I want to just kind of talk about special events and then talk about the special event that occurred on May 9th, which brought for Cleveland Cavaliers playoff games, a Guardians home game, and a music concert by Zach Bryan at the Huntington Bank Field. And so before a special event comes up, we have, I want to introduce the folks here, the Service Quality Department led by Tony Richardson. We have Peter Cummins, Mark Rodriguez, and Robert Mercer. This is the leadership team in our Service Quality Department. So they're the group of people who work in the window that you see here with all of the GPS and manage the bus traffic and the rail traffic for the authority. But they convene a group that looks at the out calendar and determines when there's going to be a special event. When that occurs, they work with Joel, who isn't here today, but Joel's team, to determine what extra service will be there. So what will be the makeup of the service. On this day, certainly they were aware of the Zach Bryan concert and all of the events. And so we had additional service. So many of you may realize we don't normally run into the waterfront any longer because we have construction in Tower City. So we opened up the line to be able to service that major concert there. Within that, we serviced that with 4 vehicles. We also knew that there would be a lot of people coming downtown, and so we had a train set up where we have normally 8 trains on the system, and I'm going to call them blocks so they can understand it. They're normally 2 cars, and what we did was we had 4 of those as 3 cars and 4 of those as 2 cars. Tony Richardson and the team certainly understood that this would be a large day, and it was compounded by the storm. And so what ended up happening was the events actually ran late. And so the Guardians game didn't start for 2 hours and went into extra innings. The Zach Bryan concert also started a bit late and went later. We do want to make it public because maybe it isn't widely known as we would like. But our agreement with those venues is that we will service those venues for 1 hour after the event. On this day, I just want you to know that because customers kept going, we serviced the rail system for 2 hours after the event. So our last train did not leave downtown until 2 o'clock. The last event ended at the last event ended at midnight in the waterfront. So that you understand our team and the team that's responsible for it. We're not giving you a picture of people who aren't here. That gentleman there who manages this office was here. He's watching it by video. He has people at the station. And this time we also happen to have our internal auditor was reviewing the item by video and video camera and was able to give an assessment. I think this picture may have come from him. But was able to give us an assessment. And so while certainly on event times where there is a large crowd, things can go wrong in a public transit agency. But I would like to say that the team stayed here until 2 o'clock. We kept service going. We got people home. To give you some context for our team as they described the night, Uber surge price went to $300 after that event. And so the $2.50 plus, yeah, so, it's so many people trying to leave downtown at one time. And so they have I'm not going to go into that. I was told to be brief. I was about to start talking about algorithms, but I do want to share with you that process is managed. It is managed by this team and others, but they're represented by this team. And we're always available to answer any questions. Certainly, we live in a world that you can always get better, and so we don't shirk away from it. But I will say that that evening, we were in close contact with them. Tony Garofoli was in close contact. I was in close contact with them, and service after that event lasted 2 hours. We will begin to publicize the 1 hour because as newer and different people come downtown, they may not be aware. And what we noticed is that not everybody went home to the train. They went and did other things. But as they kept coming down, that group did not leave until those platforms were clear.
Thank you again, and kudos to the operational team that really showed up for the event. We appreciate you. I personally understand this, having worked in special event management for years in Chicago prior to here, so this is not easy to do. Before I move to the next slide, just want you to know that we had just under 120,000 people in the Central Business District that evening, and moved quite a few of them, so we do appreciate the effort. All right, so wanted to thoroughly embarrass our new trustee. That is what my job is. Ms. Emily Harper, was appointed by Mayor Justin Bibb for Cleveland as an appointee to the GCRTA board. She most recently was sworn in last week so that we could prep her for this meeting with quite a few resolutions. She is a project management and strategy professional. She will be serving through March of 2028. So Ms. Harper, if you had any words, we're happy to hear from you.
I'd have warned me you would do this.
Yes, so, they know.
Thank you for that. It's been a whirlwind of a week, just meeting with the different teams and working through all of the Ohio ethics and statutes, nighttime reading, and the mountain of reports that have been presented to us as part of the board package, which I am so, just to echo something that Vice Chair Pichetti said, I am very appreciative of the rich data and data that is representative of holistic rider experience and not just the one good day or the one bad day that a rider had. But yes, I am looking forward to learning more and being part of the committee discussions. So thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the team. We're happy to have all 10 of you here. Thank you. All right, this is my last slide, so I'll round it out. In memoriam, we did have, whenever we are aware and are made aware of one of our previous or current board trustees that may have transitioned to the next opportunity in life, we want to make sure that we pay them homage here in our meeting. So the Honorable William W. Patman Jr. Served on our board. I did not know him personally. However, he was a board member for a short time, 2009 to 2011, and was appointed by Cuyahoga County Board of Commissioners at that time. He was a member of the Finance, Planning, and Development Committees and served on Cleveland City Council in Ward 8, and then went on to the Ohio House of Representatives in District 10. So we appreciate, of course, Mr. Patman's contributions to our board and wish him all the best in eternal life. If we want to take a quick moment of silence to be able to memorialize his contributions. And with that, that concludes my official report. I will say, since we're on the topic of those that contributed, we were able to get a quick, it's not a mock-up anymore, but we will be also memorializing Reverend Lucas at a time to be determined later on this summer or fall at the Shaker Square intersection there. And we did get the mock-up of the bronze sort of plaque that we'll be having out for him. And so we'll keep you updated on when that is going to be scheduled.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I gave my report with the committee assignments earlier. Is there any old or new business? If not, the next regular board meeting is scheduled for June 16th, 2026 at this location. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned.